So the Bytexplorers, we've been around for almost 5 months now. We've done essentially what are a series of weekly quests where people submit um, whatever they're working on. Could be a dashboard, could be a query, could be a data science article or whatnot. And then the community basically votes on it. All right. So as we vote, you earn guild tokens, which then promotes you through tiers. And as you get promoted through tiers, you get certain rewards and privileges unlocked. Right. So we've had 19 quests so far. Some of them were actually also missions, which I'm not going to go into now. I think over 230 submitted discoveries. And I'm just going to go over the most recent set of discoveries. So we changed it to bi-weekly just because weekly was kind of way too often. No one no one creates data work every single week, right? So it's open and it's basically due at every other Sunday midnight AST. So for example, the quest number 16 is actually still open and it ends today. We have 4 submissions so far. So I'll end today and then voting will be open for 2 weeks after that. And then the next quest basically is also open for 2 weeks after that. So it's kind of always like every other Sunday there's a quest due for voting and also a quest due for submissions, right? And yeah, if you have work to submit, you can join the Bytexplorers. Link is in the description of the live stream. We got a Telegram group, and also like you don't have to be some crazy good analyst or scientist to submit to this, right? It's basically people of any level submitting, and then me and others will kind of give scores and give feedback as we see fit. So a lot of times, if you go back to like any past quest, you'll be able to see that I leave, or someone will leave at least some sort of feedback, right? So if we go here, you'll see I normally leave a comment. There's novelty score, there's a completeness score, there's a transparency score. You basically multiply your scores to get some amount of votes. So basically that's anywhere from 0 to 64 votes. And I'll normally add more details and thoughts here on things that I think are good and things that I think can be improved. Obviously, this dashboard, there wasn't much I thought could be improved, so I was just like, great job, right? So if you ever want to see feedback that I like to give, just click on literally any of these submissions. It's probably more helpful if you go to the ones that scored 32 or lower, to see the kind of feedback that I give. Give me 1 second, I'm going to blow my nose. Sorry about that. My spring allergies are still around. Shout out to anyone suffering spring allergies with me. Cool. So before I go into the submissions, right, let me just kind of talk through how we've set up the scores as a community. So you have novelty score, which is 0 votes if it's just a copy of something that exists. You get 1 vote or 1 point if you covered a topic at a surface level, 2 votes for covering it at an in-depth level, right? So this is like covering a token just by showing its total DEX trading volume versus actually going in depth about its holders or around a certain like event or protocol. 4 votes is highly impactful insights. So this is like, honestly, you can have surface level queries that are actually impactful. You could also have in-depth queries that are actually impactful, and you can have surface and in-depth queries that aren't actually that impactful, where it's like, oh, I didn't really learn much from that, all right? And this actually also comes down to like your chart layout and communication. Completeness, this is just kind of like what was the scope of the work done. If it's just completely wrong, you get a 0. If it's a simple query, you get a 1. If it's a simple dashboard, you get a 2. If it's an in-depth dashboard, report, model, whatever, you get a 4. And model here means not a machine learning model, though that would also count, but we mean like table models, so like DBT, spellbook models. Lastly is transparency. It's not just completing the work, but it's how you communicate it. So if it's completely closed source and no methodology, you get a 0. If there's a clear methodology, like you explain in the dashboard text that like this calculation is done using XYZ and this is why I did it this way, you get 2 votes automatically if it's open source. And you get 4 votes if it's open source and there's an in-depth methodology. So what that means is that you had to create an article, a video, a thread, like a paragraph article, whatever, basically putting your work out there. Because something that I believe in is if you don't put your work out there, you've basically done all the hard work without getting all of the actual benefit. Because like if you just expect people will just discover your dashboard and like give you feedback and praise and share it around for you, that's not how it works. You know, like even when I create a dashboard now, or even when Hildebrand creates a dashboard now, like he never just lets it, like you don't just let it sit there. You have to go out there, bring it to the community, answer questions, improve how it's laid out, write articles, do videos, etc., etc. Right? So the total kind of multiplication of points there gives you your total votes. All right, so valid is 2 votes, great is 8 votes, superb is 32 votes, exceptional is 64 votes. Right, so you can kind of think this as exceptional means you got 4s in all categories, superb means you got 4s in 2 of the 3 categories, and then great and valid are kind of mixes of like, okay, you probably had 2 categories that were kind of suffering and have room for improvement. All right, with that all being said, I realize I have no way of seeing comments. So in that case, let me quickly pull up categories. Oop, we got some echo. All right, no comments. However, if you have questions or thoughts, feel free to throw them in the chat and I will keep updated with them. Can I pop out the chat? I can pop out the chat. Cool. Not that it does me anything. All right, so I'm not gonna vote on my own, but if you are a trailblazer or above tier, which we have, I think 14 of now, 16. We have 16 trailblazers now. Please go and vote on mine. I'll also give a reminder in the Telegram chat. All right, let's look at Marco's work today. So he's got a layer 2 transaction fee explorer. We'll click on the dashboard, just take a look. Why did layer? So this is specifically looking into why did transaction fees spike at certain times. So this is interesting, right? Because I think a lot of times there are like great gas fee comparison dashboards. Like I think gasfees.io created by Kofi, right? Which shows like for a swap, for a trade, for a transfer or an ETH transfer, what was kind of the average cost over, I think this is last 24 hours. Yeah, last 24 hours. But oftentimes there are spikes in fees. And then it's, you know, kind of painful to figure out why there were spikes. So, and you'll see I ask everyone here to submit a short methodology, when they published it, the actual work, and then a thread if they have created it. So I'm going to go like this thread. I'll normally go and read the article or thread first, just because I want to have an easiest as possible way of digesting this work. I really don't want, like, I also say this a lot, like when people are trying to read and understand your work, they really don't want to put in a lot of effort. Like they're not going to go and read your query to see why you've done what you did unless it's already really interesting. So I'm going to read the thread first just to see if there's, you know, something that really piques my interest. Outliers, yada, yada, yada. I'm already seeing a lot of like seasonality, which just means like probably weekday, weekend trends, if I had to guess. So this is good. He's walking through an example of how you would use this dashboard to like really dive into why a spike happened. So there was a transaction fee spike April 24th. So he's already filtered for April 24th to see what caused the spike. And it looks like there's this address here, 0x6 whatever. You can also see it over time. You can also compare base versus priority fee and view of total as well. You can see this also when you share your work, you start to get like other people sharing their work as well, because you're normally not the only one looking into this problem. And honestly, I think this is really good. Like, it's really clear. You've kind of, this is a dashboard that covers multiple chains. We can just change here, and then filter a time and see what you need to see. Right. So this is the example he walked through. Where you can just select that. And I like that, right? It's like very specific for you to either look at fee spikes at a certain period, by contract, by user, and it does one thing and it does it well, right? And that's kind of an example of like a really good dashboard where it's not like 50 different things. It just does one thing well. No chart is a waste of space, and so that is basically automatically going to be a full score from me. Oopsie. So I'm just gonna go, oops. I need to find one of my notes. And I'll just normally leave a short message. This is a great tool. I love how scoped it is to do one thing well. And also your example is a great walkthrough. So this is an on-chain transaction, so I have to sign each one. Here's hoping that David and Sean over at Joke Race help make it so I could batch these in the future, so I don't have to sign this, I guess, 20 times today. I'm also going to turn off my audio so that you don't have to hear every single MetaMask because that's going to be a pain in the ass. So we're going to wait for it to deploy. And I'm getting my Xerion mobile notifications of these transactions. Xerion is my favorite mobile wallet tracker by far. I am not sponsored. So you'll see here that my vote's gone in. So cool, that's one done, 9 to go. So let me close some of these. Close this, let's keep going. So this person did Jupyter user analysis. I'm actually curious if they have a Farcaster. So if I take this quest address, pop it into here, I just want to run this one query. I'm going to let this run to see if I can figure out who this is, because they don't have a tweet or something linked. But let's see, Jupyter user analysis, been to Paris. Jupyter DEX user analysis for targeted token incentives. This dashboard seeks to help Jupyter understand its users better, meet the average user, uncover different user groups, clustering, okay, and rewarding the right way. Okay, great. I like this so far so good. Yeah, Jupyter, for those who don't know, it's kind of like Uniswap on Solana. But just the aggregator part. They're not a DEX. So I guess Uniswap on Solana is not a best example, but they do capture like 80% of like routing volume. Okay. So got some query specific stuff here. So we got some daily trading volume. I'm gonna be honest, the formatting here is not super intuitive. However, let me see here. It seems this may be wrong, because this value is way too high for like 138,000 billion. Should not be the right volume unless I'm misunderstanding something here. Stickiness ratio, does he define it here? Doesn't define it here. Monthly active users, this one's easy. Daily active users makes sense. Key takeaways. Meme coin frenzy. Okay. There's two other tabs here, which I'm guessing goes deeper. Trades per trader, pairs per trader, volume per trader. All right, these are your typical kind of overview statistics, and I'll go into feedback soon. User personas. Okay. So a few points of feedback here, and I'll write this as I go, and this is still running. So let me just, oops, take this. So just quickly going through a score, I think that this is a simple overview. I think it's a simple dashboard, and it's open source, and it has a clear methodology. But there's no article or longer tweet, so it's not a 4. Hold on, I need to sneeze. All right, allergies are killing me. So a few thoughts here. There may be an error with your volume calculations. A few outlier spikes in the multiples of billions is incorrect. I'm not going to give him a 0 on completeness just because I think his other charts are correct. That's right, so I feel a bit bad giving him a 0 just for 1. It's likely that the data set here has some outliers. Because this is pretty common, actually. Even when I make the DEX trades tables for Solana, sometimes a coin comes up that causes outliers, and then you get like explosive volume here, and then I just have to filter it out. Right, so I don't think this is Bintu's fault per se. Now, I will say, I think that the intention here is good, right? I love the intention of separating out different personas based on trading patterns and tokens, right? I do think that is very interesting. That's something I like to do a lot. I think user persona kind of filtering and clustering makes things, 1, more interesting, and 2, makes the data less like uniform. I think just if you always look at like average trading value or whatever across all users, like you're just gonna end up with like super meaningless metrics for the most part. However, I think where this does fall short is that the charts are mostly just overview charts that don't continue to dig further. All right, so what do I mean by that? For example, when there's like average trades per trader, average pairs per trader, when you're doing this kind of analysis and you're doing groups, something simple you might want to try is just, you could try and add group by persona using case 1 statements in the, what tab is this? This is the trader behavior tab. And try and weave a story over the charts as you scroll down. All right, so something I like to see is you might separate by average trades by trader, and then you'll see maybe some trends across the group. And then if you see the average trades, you might also want to see average retention, right? Because those two kind of activity and retention go well hand in hand together. You might also want to see like average, like not average, but like total new traders of a persona for a given week, right? Because we might see that, for example, your casual users, you keep adding 100 a week, but your meme coin degen, there was 1 week that added 1,000, and then the rest of the weeks, nothing else was really added, right? And that's kind of how you want to think about telling a story here instead of just putting overview metrics, because that takes you a lot further in terms of like how impactful your dashboard is, right? Again, it's not a bad dashboard. It's just this is a fairly simple overview. All right, so I'm going to submit the transaction here. And I'm curious, does this person have... No, this person doesn't have a Farcaster. Bintu, I highly suggest you get on Farcaster. And also get an ENS. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So I will give this an 8, which is a great submission. Remember, it's valid, great, superb, exceptional. Okay, it's our second one. We have 7 more to go. Ludic, who I think we've seen a bunch of times here before, and it's actually a good time for me to basically showcase something I'll do is I'll search Ludic here and I'll see, oh, okay, they've submitted, I'm just gonna order here. They've submitted 4 times. They got superb, superb, exceptional, great. Looks like they've done 2 EtherFi dashboards, or this is 1 EtherFi dashboard that they resubmitted. So something that we do allow is if you get a 32 and you address the comments and you want to resubmit it, you have a chance of earning a full kind of 64-point score, right? So that's what was done in this case. So it looks like EtherFi did an airdrop. Airdrops are probably one of the most common dashboards. So we have probably the total amount claimed over time. We should have like a claimers, number of claimers over time. Distribution, yep, this is normal. Total airdrop allocation, total claimed. So it looks like, yeah, 80% claimed. What is the first action of airdroppers? Okay, this is basically looking at like how many of them like immediately just went to sell right after. I think you could do some aggregation here in terms of a lot of these are just index trades. So you might as well just do the work of aggregating into like, was it a swap? Was it a transfer? Did they do nothing? Just because that's easier to understand than this. Also, I'm guessing EtherFi governance token being the first interact with the contract, like that's just a transfer, because if you're calling the contract itself to do the transfer, that's what shows up here. 75% were transferred to a second wallet. All right. Yep, so this is probably Sybil farming. Airdrop wallet's current balance. Over half the wallets transferred ETHFi to another wallet, add liquidity or dumped on all dexes after the claim. I'm trying to follow the logic here. This is the second wallet that's doing it. Oh, out of the claimers, how many transferred all, how many transferred some. And then there's stake. Okay. I think I'm following here. And total airdrop, yep. Cool, yep, all right, good stuff. So, okay, in this case, I think it's almost there, right? I think this is, I would give it a full point score just because I think the effort is there. Yeah. So all of the key components are here. I think that it is, however, lacking a bit of clarity for easy insight takeaways. I talked over it in the live stream, but some examples of things that could be more clear. Use a cumulative distribution for comparing wallet airdrop amounts, separate out transfer versus swap versus something else in the, what was it, the first action section? In the first action section. So again, this is just all to make it easier to digest, right? And I think the second one is good. For the does user withdraw section, there are just too many charts. I think it's worth, see, this is the thing, right? I don't even remember. Yeah. Having an overall segmentation of wallets and the funnel at the top of the dashboard. How many claimed and sold or transferred? How many also withdrew after, etc. Think of it. Can just be a table form. Be in table form. Right. So you'll notice I do give them the full score. I think it's basically there for at least the quality we're going for in this quest. But that said, it's good for you to know that there's room for improvement. All right, 5 more, right? How many? I think I might be going way too slow. We've done, we've only done 3 so far. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Oh, we got a resubmission in here. Nice. All right, I'm going to speed it up a little. So here we have, hold on, I'm gonna move this away so it's not burning my face. Let's take a sip of water. So here we have EK Guy, part of the Block Intel team, creating a layer 2 overview of costs, activity, value locked, some finality stuff. Frequency of data submission, which is the batch submissions. And some. Okay. So I think this is good aggregation. I think I've already looked at this thread before. I think, presentation-wise, it's pretty clean. You should probably clean up the headers. You can just go and change them to be uppercase without the underscores. Trust me, it just looks better. I know a lot of this is taken from L2 beat, which is it's great to have. I'm not going to count it as fully original work. I think this write-up is great on the sequencer failure. I don't know if it needs to be in here. It might have been better as its own kind of like dashboard or article. Activity. Yeah, I think my main comment here is it's way too many charts. Like, try and keep these dashboards a little more focused. It's still good. And I think it's still deserving of a good score. Let me just quickly check. I also have to reread the criteria a lot. I want, yeah, okay, it was novelty. So, okay, I'm actually going to give this a novelty of 2. I think this is a great aggregation of stats. However, it is a little too much to put on one chart. Try and be more clear. I'm also being more harsh on our friend here just because he's submitted a lot of work before. I think it's natural, like, as you submit more work, you should be, you know, graded with a little higher standards, right? So try and be more clear with what the main message of the dashboard is, rather than trying to do an everything overview. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The problem is, like, for everything here, there's probably another dashboard I would think to go to first. Like for on-chain costs, I probably either go to gasfees.io or I go to like Marco's dashboard that goes much deeper on costs, and that's much more useful to me, right? Regardless, this is still good work. Close those. We'll move on to the next. Yulia is back. We have another AVS dashboard. I need to check. I know that they've done a bunch of these already. So we've got Eigenlayer. They did. Oh, they also did an EtherFi airdrop. That I think I also gave a superb. But hold on, I'm actually curious here. Yeah, that checks out. Cool. So they haven't actually done. They've done Eigenlayer and ecosystem metrics. All right. AVS Watch, active operators. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know that much about AVS yet. I think this is a good start to it. I know that our friend Jackie has put together a bunch more AVS metrics already. If you just go into here, there's a bunch of Eigenlayer queries in here that you can learn from. So I'm going to, well, let's first just take one of these that I've commented on. I think the novelty is a 2. I think, what's the tweet say? All right. I think that we could do better on the tweet. So it's a 2. I think completeness in this case. I mean, I don't know how much work it was to aggregate these names. I'm guessing it's not. Are these all closed? Or I guess that one was closed. Okay. I'd say it's in-depth. Many more AVS metrics already available. Check out some objectives. Where's shares for inspiration? Would be these ones. For inspiration. So this is going to be a 16. All right. We're getting there. All right. One of our tops. Oops. Where are we? Paul, we got Credit Guild as a new lending protocol. All right. What's going on here? Borrowing without trust assumptions. No oracles. Okay. Optimized for passive lenders. Oh, Lord. Pendle EtherFi lending? That's insane. So for those who don't know, Pendle allows you to, I think still, unbundle the principal from the interest or the yield. So you basically get 2 tokens. This now goes beyond my level of understanding of DeFi. So I'm not going to be able to give super helpful feedback here at a technical level. ECG's value problem is diverse loan types. Okay, so I'm going to see if he talks about the loan types. Bunch of on-chain actions. Use the guild token. Ethereum Credit Guild. I'll give you a star. So this is mostly Pendle driven. It's interesting because EtherFi was also mostly Pendle driven. Or was it the other way around? Pendle was mostly EtherFi driven. I think it might have been the other way around. Okay, so we got a bunch of lending terms here that I assume are pretty interesting. And it looks like a fair amount of work. Repaid value, debt value. Is there a reason why these are exactly tied? Collateral liquidity. Cool. All right. I will say from my perspective, it's a hard topic. It's impactful stuff. It's deep work. He wrote a thread. This is really, this is pretty in-depth. I don't have many comments given this is a very technical protocol. I will say it would be nice to have the loan categories and actions more clearly defined in the dashboard. So like loan token term types defined. Loan close mechanics, and noting anything that happens during a trade. Is liquidity or term affected? Without those definitions, the dashboard is probably useful for the very familiar protocol community, but then not as useful for someone like me who isn't familiar. And again, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes, like, if you just want the dashboard to be used by, you know, a specific person or team or community, then, like, just spec it for that. But I think it can be good to add as much kind of explanation and definition as you can. I think I have an outdated example, if I can find it. I think where I have Olympus style. So way back in the day, I did an Olympus overview. And I explained like all of the terms, why does this matter, looking deeper at the actual mechanics. and impacts, conclusion, etc. You don't have to go this in depth, but just kind of like having this on the side as an explainer instead of just the charts. And yes, I need to migrate these queries, which I probably should do if I have time today. Leads it to be useful for more than just the community viewer. It's useful for kind of everyone to view. Error adding comment. Hold on. Did it fail for some reason? Let's just reload it. The network might be congested. Oh no, it loaded just fine. Cool. All right, I think we have a few more. 3 more. So this one is a resubmission of this ID. So I'm gonna go in here, search up this ID. It looks like I already gave it a full score. Oh no, I gave it a 32. Right. Okay. But Paul gave it a 64. So technically this is already good. However, I always love going deeper. Oh no, it's not found. But I think I know. Oh, it's this link. Yes, all right. This was actually a response to a Byte-like question, which is a set of questions that people kind of can ask on Farcaster and get answered. So this was one that Jesse Pollock actually asked, and in this case, Salva answered it, earned 60 USDC, as well as I think a couple Byte Light for answering the question, or Byte Insight for answering the question. And the question was, how would you measure on-chain GDP? I mean, I've already seen this before. I think it's great. I think it's simple. It answers the question that's meant to be answered and puts it in a way that is understandable for the more like financially minded, which is always important to like, it's not just about getting the data out there. It's about getting the data formatted in a way that's like easy for the intended viewer to understand, right? Now, I don't think... Well, I know that he's using that other old dashboard, so that counts as, whatchamacallit? That counts as open source to me. And he addressed my previous comments here. Great. Good stuff. I think Salva is probably one of the most slept on wizards in our space. All right, 2 more. We got Jackie, pluggable query for calculating liquidity on Uniswap per token given a wallet address. Ah, yes, I think that. Yeah, she did this for hire. So this is their total LP amount. Which I can't tell how much work that is because I haven't done that in a while. I think that's, you have to use the NFTs. And she's got a video here. I'm gonna walk through a query. We're in the owner of empty. So summing on the NFT. Okay, I understand now. So you're getting the total current NFT holder of a specific tick position, I believe. I may be wrong. You should check her. Jesus. Yeah, Uniswap v3 gives me a headache every time I look at it. So, that said, I think it's in depth. It's not super impactful. It's a good query. But the write-up is amazing. Great breakdown of one of the fundamental concepts of Uniswap v3. It would be awesome to see this built to a greater dashboard tracking positions of LPs over time. Again, completeness here is 2 because it's a query. And that means that the score here is 16. Oh, nope. Not 116. 16. And I also just realized I think I'm used to going 1, 2, 4. But I think I actually added a level 3, which I can't remember now. Did I? Let's see. No, it is 0, 1, 2, 4. Now that I'm looking at this, I think I should add a 3 because I do think some of the earlier ones probably could have been a 3 instead of a 4. But hey, this is how we learn and iterate as a community. Last one, Katarina, DGen tipping dashboard. Close some of these. So for those who don't know, in DGen you can cast 100 DGen or whatever to tip someone. How many people tip each day? I don't know why this data in the middle is missing. Is tipping increasing over time? Cumulative tip. There seems to be some issues with the query. Does tipping increase with price? Roughly. Tipping versus non-tipping. When DGen tipping started becoming nuisance for some IG. Interesting. It is a fairly even split. Oh, okay. All right. Tipper FID. Non-OG receiver. This is received from an OG, I'm guessing. Yeah, what the hell happened here? Huh? You got 100K accounts in the middle that are inactive? That might make a good chart later, and I'm going to make a note to myself here. Because I think this is very interesting. And I almost missed it. Activity of FIDs by FID ID cat graph. Because that is very weird. I'll have to look into this query. Receiver pairs, tip frequency. Tipping of a specific person versus casting. Casting frequency. Oh, so basically who is just tipping, who is just casting. This is interesting. I really like it. Oh, she did a video too. Oh, through Dracula. That's very fun. Yeah, I think there's some weird data issues to be solved. Again, I don't think it's on her. I say this is really good stuff a lot, but this is really good stuff. I think that each of these charts could be dove into further. I'm personally gonna take a look at that missing non-tipping set of FIDs in that range, as it seems very, very odd. Do I have any other feedback here? Again, I don't know why this is empty. March 3rd, April 21st. Is there really no tippers in that time? Again, not that I'm doubting her. I'm guessing we might be using an uploaded dataset instead of parsing from the casts. Again, this is a good example of if it's interesting enough, I'll go deeper into the queries. All right. Mention Steegen. With the $sign, you might want to remove the $sign because I don't think it's required. Okay, regardless, great stuff. And yeah, that basically concludes the voting for the week. As you can see, it does take time. It takes like maybe an hour for me. Obviously, you can do it faster when I'm not explaining everything. But like, if you are a starter analyst, or even if you're an experienced one, you just want to know, like, I think there's always two sides of things. There's like, what is everyone else paying attention to, and what are like the people analyzing stuff paying attention to. I think it's always interesting. Like, if you're just on Twitter, you see the same shit over and over again. But I like going through here every other week now, I guess, and just seeing like, okay, like what are the top like data people in the space actually looking at, because that's interesting to me. So cool. I will go ask the group for someone to vote on mine, but thank you for joining me on this Sunday morning. Again, anyone can join the Bytexplorers. This quest happens every other week. Open to, as you saw, everyone from kind of more beginners to like deep experts. So I'll do this again every other week just to show like my voting, my feedback, my thinking. But enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day holiday.